I'm Officer Harold Eley, and welcome to Behind the Badge, where you get an up-close and personal look at your Newport News Police Department. Fighting crime is what we do, and our #1 goal is to reduce crime and to reduce the fear of crime in the city of Newport News. But we know that we can't do that alone, so we need the help of a dedicated community, and we need the help of strong partnerships to get the job done. Today, Behind the Badge has traveled to the Virginia Peninsula Chamber of Commerce to talk with representatives of one of our most successful Crimeline programs, the Peninsula Crimeline. With me here today is Mr. Fred Kern. Now, Mr. Kern, you are a past president of the Peninsula Crimeline. You are a retired engineer from NASA. And before we actually talk about what I want to talk about today, which is the Crimeline program, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I was born in Wheeling, West Virginia, educated in West Virginia. I came to the Peninsula in 1961 and joined the NASA Langley Research Center and worked there for 34 years. After retirement, I was asked to attend a Peninsula Crimeline meeting and see if I was interested in joining. After one meeting, I was hooked, and I have been with the Peninsula Crimeline for 12 years.
12 years. All right, so working with Peninsula Crimeline, you are a volunteer, is that correct?
That is correct. There's no paid employees on the Crimeline. We're all volunteers.
Then let's get off on the right foot. Tell everybody what Crimeline is.
Crimeline is a all-volunteer, citizen-based program. But it's not an independent program. It is a collection or a partnership between the law enforcement of the departments on the entire peninsula, including Gloucester now. It is a partnership with the media, because the media advertises the crimes that are out there, and it gets us the information we need. Crimeline's main objective is to gather information anonymously and to provide that information to law enforcement to solve crimes. If an arrest is made from that information, Crimeline pays up to $1,000 reward. What's interesting about the program is that the Crimeline program receives no local, state, or federal dollars to pay rewards. This money comes from our silent partners, so to speak, and that is corporations, small and large businesses, organizations, and individuals across the peninsula.
So Crimeline is a program where everybody has to pitch in to actually make it work.
That is absolutely correct, because if any one of those four elements doesn't function properly, then Crimeline cannot do its job.
Okay, let's go back to the history a little bit of Crimeline, because so many people have always said that they thought the Crimeline was a police program, and we know that it's not. We're just part of that partnership.
Yes.
So go back to Crimeline's history. Where did it start?
Well, Crimeline started in 1976 in Albuquerque, New Mexico, in trying to solve a murder at a convenience store out in the middle of nowhere in Albuquerque, with no clues other than some tire tracks skidding out on from the convenience store onto the highway. They decided to make a film and put the film on the news to see if it would generate any interest. The story varies from the first call to the 8th call, but very shortly they got a tip from a person that was saying, this person pulled out in front of me and almost hit me, and she wrote down the license plate number and stuffed it in her glove compartment. Not doing anything with it until she heard it on the radio. She called it in, and that was the birth of Crimeline. 1982, the Peninsula Crimeline formed its own program.
Okay.
And currently there is in excess of 50 such programs across the state of Virginia.
Okay. Now, across the state of Virginia, we have the 50+ programs, but it's much larger than that.
Yes, it is an international program. Mm-hmm. Across the United States, there are about 1,100 programs known by Crimeline, Crime Stoppers, Crime Solvers, Silent Witness, or any other name, but they all function virtually the same. They collect collect information anonymously, and that is very important in this program. If there's an arrest involved, recovery of stolen property, or seizure of illegal drugs, or other critical information for law enforcement, Crimeline pays that reward to that anonymous citizen.
All right. Let's set it up a little bit. I'm a Crimeline coordinator, so I receive a tip about whatever crime has occurred, and I assign an investigator to go out and research that tip, and if we make an arrest on that tip, then that Crimeline caller is eligible for a reward. But how does the Crimeline caller, how do we contact that person? How do we stay in contact?
Well, okay, first of all, we can't contact the person because the person is anonymous. The coordinator, when he gets the initial call or tip, assigns a control number to that person for that particular tip. And that is the way communication has been maintained. The tipster is asked to call back periodically to determine what the progress on the tip was, if the tip solved the case, and if the case was solved, the arrest was made, then what happens is the coordinator takes that information to the all-volunteer Crimeline board, presents it to the board, and the board decides then, based upon a given set of criteria and formula, what that reward, how much that reward will be to that person. It's not arbitrary, it's pretty well controlled. The person then, the tipster then will call back at some time and ask for information. Did I solve the crime? And if the case is yes, the coordinator will say, you have to go to this particular location to get your reward. It is paid in cash. There is no record. And you have to provide certain information, your control number and certain information to get that reward at that location. And we have many locations across the peninsula where the tipster can go.
And we've done this successfully for over 20 years.
We've done it successfully since 1982.
1982.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So I think the basic premise of it is you give a tip and you get a reward. But there's something else going on there. All right? Anonymity.
Yes.
Can we talk about that a little bit?
Okay, well, the anonymity is the cornerstone of the Crimeline program. In today's environment, with snitching, and I don't really like that word, and people not wanting to talk or get involved, Crimeline offers the citizen a way to get involved but not be identified. Being anonymous, the Crimeline caller will never have to testify in court. We never ask their name, their address, or any identifying information of that person. They are truly anonymous. And the only link between our program and that tipster is that control number.
Okay. All right.
If that person forgets that control number, that link is broken.
Something else that I like about the Crimeline program that I've learned about over the years is that a lot of callers want the money, yes, but there are always callers that really don't want the money. They just want to see justice served.
That is correct. And we track that, and you find across the United States, the percentage of people that say, I don't want a reward, can be as many as 25% of the callers in any month. So that's very significant that people do get involved and do not want the reward for that.
All right. So we are the Peninsula Crimeline. So how many jurisdictions are we dealing with?
Well, Peninsula Crimeline deals with, and I'm going to name the jurisdictions: Newport News, Hampton, Poquoson, York County, Williamsburg, James City County, and just in July, Gloucester County as part of our program. So we deal with a sizable number of people and jurisdictions.
All right. And in a typical meeting of the Crimeline board, how does that function? Can you tell us a little bit about how that works?
Well, the meeting, we meet once a month, the beginning of the first Wednesday of every month. Lasts about an hour. We go over the normal things that an organization does, as the minutes and the treasurer's report and things like this. Then we hear the reports from each of the police coordinators. Now, each of our jurisdictions we have has a law enforcement officer, a Crimeline coordinator assigned to the program to be the liaison between the Crimeline program and their department. They present their cases that have been solved and for consideration for the reward. And then if they're approved, then the coordinator then takes that information back to his office and he waits for the tipster to call and say, I'm caller number such and such, and did my information, my tip, solve a crime.
Okay.
It's
Now,
that simple.
It's that simple. And it works.
It works.
All right, you're a past president of the Peninsula Crime Line. You've also been a past president of the Virginia Crime Stoppers Association.
Yes.
So, as a past president, tell us what you think the real value of the Crimeline program is.
The real value of the Crimeline program is that it offers the opportunity for citizens to coordinate, provide information to law enforcement without getting involved. And that is a kind of a key issue across the nation, and particularly anywhere you go within the program. But that anonymity is the key to the whole program. And that is, it's more than, I think it's more than the money, because they know their identity has been protected, because we don't know who it is and we don't want to know.
Okay. Well, Mr. Fred Kern, I want to thank you very much for talking to us a little bit about the Crimeline program. And I know that in a few minutes we're going to have the current president of the Peninsula Crime Line come in and talk to us. Thanks again.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate the opportunity.
Okay, and we'll be right back with Behind the Badge.
Hello, folks. What's one of the best kept secrets in Hampton Roads? Give up? It's the Hampton Roads Crime Line. Crime Line 1-888-LOCK-YOU-UP. Crime Line and Crime Solver programs cover areas from Virginia Beach to Isle of Wight, all the way up through the northern parts of the peninsula, pretty much all of Hampton Roads. If you can hear my voice, you probably have a local Crime Line or Crime Solver program. We work with 15 local police jurisdictions. In 2009, callers to the Crime Line helped in the arrest of 406 people, solved 967 cases, and received over $90,000 in rewards. If you have a tip or helpful information, call Crime Line at 1-888-LOCK-YOU-UP or 1-888-562-5887. You don't leave your name. Calls are not recorded, and you may be eligible for a cash reward if your information leads to an arrest. Crime Line. It works. It pays.
Welcome back to Behind the Badge. And we have with us now, from the Virginia Peninsula Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Mike Coons. How are you, Mike?
Hi, Harold. Good to see you.
Good to see you. And you are now the current president of the Peninsula Crime Line.
I am.
All right. And would you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to be president?
Well, you've heard from Fred Kern, and I met Fred probably 5 or 6 years ago at a business after hours in York County, and started talking to him, and the story's short, here I am.
Here you
I
are.
have had the benefit of having the greatest mentor in Crime Line involvement, and have assumed the positions as in the organization.
Okay. The Peninsula Crime Line, I know you're working on different issues with Peninsula Crime Line, and one of those issues is our image. So could you tell me a little bit about that?
Right. The image, everybody knows the 1-888-LOCK-YOU-UP. It's the second most recognized telephone number after 911. However, most people don't understand what's behind the scenes, what drives that. It's more of a marketing issue with the image of the Crime Line. We certainly don't have a problem with efficiency and operation and anonymity and all those sorts of programmatic things, but is getting the citizens to understand that we need their help, we need their contributions, we need their donations in order to continue to pay the rewards. For all the years we've been in existence, we've actually assisted in providing information that led to the solving of over 1,800 cases, the recovery of almost $1 million in property. We've paid out $250,000 in rewards. Those are all dimes and dollars from the citizens, from corporations, and we have had the benefit of some legacy giving. But now we're at the point where as crime, as people have become aware of the Crime Line and its value, we pay more rewards. Therefore, we need greater help from the public. And that is the issue, in letting people know we are a volunteer organization, we are a 501c3 tax-exempt charitable organization, and that we really assist local law enforcement and are not a police organization, if you will.
Okay, all right. Not a police organization. How will you, as president of Peninsula Crime Line, how will you get that message out? Because I never see any any messages out about Crimeline, except call 1-888-LOCK-YOU-UP. Is there another way? Are you working on some special things to help with that?
Well, I think we're all working, all of our board members are working on creating an awareness of it. I probably speak many times a month to various organizations, whether it's the Crime Watch organizations, whether it's a Rotary Club, a Lions Club, a Kiwanis Club, telling them that it is a multifaceted organization that involves the media, citizens, and local law enforcement. And that's just repetition, because our product is good. The 1-888-LOCK-YOU-UP is good, but we really have to let people know that in order to continue that, we need the support of the community, the financial support. And we're fortunate. We have very dedicated volunteers. We have a wonderful core of law enforcement coordinators who run the program and make sure that the anonymity is maintained. But we do need citizen support through contributions to be able to continue our funding.
Continue. All right, the 1-888-LOCK-YOU-UP number. Okay, everybody knows it. As you said, it's the second most known number other than 911. All right. That's a regional number. It doesn't belong to Peninsula Crimeline, does it?
No, we all of the crime lines in Hampton Roads have joined together in an informal organization called the Hampton Roads Crime Lines. And we all pay for that one number, and it's obviously a telephone tree. If you're interested in Newport News, you listen to the message and hit the number for Newport News. The Crime Line also serves the Hispanic community by offering an opportunity to give a crime in their native language. However, for Newport News, you'd hit number 7. The phone rings on a separate phone line to the coordinator, and then the process begins, as previously mentioned, from the law enforcement standpoint. No one ever knows. It's a separate crime line. It's not discoverable by any attorney in a court of law. And the lines are actually owned by the Hampton Roads Crime Lines.
Okay. All right, there was one other issue that I failed to talk to Mr. Kern about that maybe you could help clarify a little bit, and that's the actual paying of the rewards. How does that happen?
Well, the coordinators come to our board meeting each month and present their cases as a result of the tips received. And keep in mind, we pay on the arrest, recovery of stolen property or illegal drugs.
So I don't want to interrupt you, but you said arrest. So most programs out there say arrest and conviction. What makes us different is?
It is on arrest.
All right.
And so the coordinators present their case. We have a schedule that all of our coordinators follow so that it's consistent throughout the region, and depending on the severity of the crime, the amount of property recovered, whether the person is a felon, non-felon, all sorts of criteria, they're given points, and then a dollar amount is applied to those points. And then the board, the civilian board, hears the presentation from our coordinators and determines whether or not that's an appropriate reward. Could be more, could be less. Okay. And then we go through the payment process as described before.
All right, which is at a local bank or?
We are fortunate that we have had one of our local financial institutions involved with us since the very beginning, and the person who's to receive the reward merely walks into the facility, gives the number is verified, the amount in the number is verified with a bank security official, and it is paid. No ID, no signing, just take the cash, and that is your reward for providing the information.
Providing the information. So Crimeline works, that is the bottom line.
It does. Crimeline does work, as evidenced by the statistics I mentioned previously.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for being here, being on Behind the Badge. And if you have one other thing that you'd like to say to our public about the Crimeline program, what would that be?
I think the thing to say is that it does work. It is anonymous. And it is one way that the citizens in general can support our local law enforcement, but also the most important thing, it makes our community a safe place to work, live, and play.
Mr. Coons, thank you very much for being here.
It's a pleasure.
And we want to thank all of you for watching Behind the Badge, and stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hello, folks. What's one of the best kept secrets in Hampton Roads? Give up? It's the Hampton Roads Crime Line. Crime Line 1-888-LOCK-YOU-UP. If you can hear my voice, you probably have a local crime line or crime solver program. We work with 15 local police jurisdictions. If you have a tip or helpful information, call Crime Line at 1-888-LOCK-YOU-UP or 1-888-562-5887. Crime Line. It works, it pays.
Welcome back to Behind the Badge, and I'm here with Miss Juliet Bickford from News Channel 3. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Before we talk about the Crime Line program, tell us a little bit about yourself, especially with News Channel 3.
All right, well, I've been with News Channel 3 for about 2.5 years. I'm actually a native of Hampton, so very glad to be back in the area. And I'm really excited because we've been working with the Hampton Roads Crime Line for taking action against crime for almost 2 years now, working to catch fugitives that are out there all over Hampton Roads.
All right. I'm sure almost everybody knows about taking action against crime, but tell us how it came about and how it worked for the Crime Line program.
We're trying to think of a different way to cover crime. I think one of the biggest complaints people have when they talk about their local news or not wanting to watch any news is a lot of times it's depressing or it's just all these crime stories and there's really no way to find the positive in it. And so we were trying to think of a different way that maybe we could help the police department, we could help with the Crime Line program and do some great coverage on stories that maybe weren't being told. Some of these older cases, some of these people who'd been on the run for sometimes quite some time. And so we came up with kind of our own America's Most Wanted. We decided to put fugitives out there every week, and no matter how big or small the case is, if they're wanted, we want to help police find them.
So the obvious question, how's it working?
It's working very well. In fact, I was surprised at how quickly things started rolling. And in fact, our first case, the man turned himself in just 2 days afterward. And we have had so many success stories like that. People who've turned themselves in within minutes of our broadcast. And then, of course, more importantly, those Crime Line tips that come in. It's so great to be able to show the community that the Crime Line program works. We always do a follow-up and say, there was a call that came in, and police are able to follow up on that right away and make that arrest. And I think that that's important to show that the program really does work.
Okay. We talked with Mr. Fred Kern a little bit earlier and Mike Coons about the Crime Line program, and they were trying to explain to us what it is all entails. One of the things they didn't talk about was the media side of the house. So would you address that a little bit?
I think a lot of people don't know a lot about the Crime Line program. Luckily, they know the number, 1-888-LOCK-YOU-UP, and so we're happy about that. But they don't realize that it's not just something that's done by the police department. It's really this partnership, and it was this idea that started with this community effort of what can we do to make our community a safer place. So you've got people that are on the civilian board. These are just regular people volunteering their time, working hard to make sure that there's enough money to pay out those rewards, that there is enough publicity about the Crime Line, that people know they can call, they can be anonymous when they know a tip about a crime. And then, of course, there's the media side of it. It's this three-pronged thing when you talk about the police, the community, and the media. And we're so important because we can get that information out quickly. Sometimes we'll talk to you guys, and you need to get somebody's picture out on the news right away. You need to get some information from Crime Line as soon as possible. We know with a lot of your important cases, the more time goes by, the harder it is to get that information. And so we're there to tell the public about the stories, tell the public about the fugitives that are out there, the crimes that have just been committed, and let them know what they can do to help. So if we weren't all working together, this partnership wouldn't work. And I think it's important that the community understand that it is people just like them that are working in this program to make their community a safer place. It's not just something that the government came up with or that the government is funding. This is all community money.
Oh, absolutely. So all people have to do is watch News Channel 3, is that right?
That's right. Every Tuesday at 6 and 11, we profile 2 different fugitives from a different city in Hampton Roads, go into their case. Sometimes we talk to the victims in the case, and they're looking for closure because these people are still out there. And the most rewarding part for me is when we can do that follow-up, and we can talk to the victim, we can talk to that detective who's been spending weeks, sometimes months, often years on this one case, and they can say, case closed.
Case closed. Juliet, thank you very much for being here, for talking with us about the media, what the media does to help support the Crime Line program and making it work. So we want to thank you for that.
Well, thanks. I'm excited to be a part of the program.
And we want to thank each and every one of you for taking a look at Behind the Badge.